Imagination plus faith, the real tools of transformation. Imagination plus faith. This idea is something Neville Goddard consistently emphasized, even toward the end of his life. And from personal experience, I've come to deeply believe that these two components are all you truly need to transform yourself and your world. I've tried countless other techniques: subconscious imprinting, gratitude journaling, nonstop affirmations, sleeping with affirmation audios in my ears, all in the hope that something external would magically change me. But if I'm being honest, none of those things really worked. And the reason, I later realized, is simple. I didn't have faith. Not in the deeper sense Neville described. I didn't trust in the reality of what I imagined. Faith in this context isn't just a belief. It's the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, as described in the Bible. That's powerful. And if the word faith doesn't feel accessible to you, try trust. That might feel more natural in modern language, but the essence remains the same. It is complete, non-resistant acceptance of your imaginal act as real. When Neville talks about trusting the imaginal scene, for example, his vision of walking the gangplank to leave Barbados, he means living in such complete acceptance of it that there is no debate, no questioning. He didn't argue against what he saw in imagination. And that's what true faith is. Not fighting your imagination, but accepting its vision fully. In this reflective world of imagination, where everything is simply a mirror of the self, there is no one to change but self. And that self is the I am, the internal identity, the one being who declares I am and shapes the world from within. This phrase, I am, connects every person because it is the only thing there truly is, pure awareness of being. The truth is, the only thing we fear is I am. We don't really fear the external world. What we fear are the internal identifications like I am unworthy, I am unlovable, I am failing. If we can change those, we change everything. You could be surrounded by chaos, but if within you there is the conviction I am safe, that's the reality you live. The fear comes from self-definitions, not circumstances. There is only one being, the I am. And when you shift your self-perception, others must respond accordingly. They reflect back the state you've assumed because there is only one consciousness expressing in multiplicity. Neville pointed out something profound from Scripture. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. He defined God as your imagination, your I am awareness. So, to please that God self within you, to align with it, you must have faith, the inner conviction that your desire is already real. If you imagine something and it doesn't bring joy or a sense of satisfaction, that means you're not trusting it. Because if you really felt your wish fulfilled, you'd feel ecstasy, you'd feel pleasure. This is the bodily response to spiritual acceptance. One of the most important things I've learned is that pleasure is the sign that trust is present. That shift you feel in your body when you fully say yes to what you desire, that's transformation happening at the root level. I remember one of my earliest manifestations using Neville's principles. I decided to manifest a $100 bill, something I don't normally carry since I use cards, just to see if I could do it. I imagined myself holding that bill, seeing it clearly in my imaginary hands. I felt it was already mine and let it go. A few days later, while interning and training some older folks, one man unexpectedly handed me a $100 bill. At first, I tried to refuse, but he insisted, saying, "Don't worry, I'm rich." Only after he left did it click. I had imagined this. The shift in reality didn't start with the external event. It began the moment I accepted the scene in imagination. That internal shift, that moment of pleasure and acceptance, was the first act of change in the outer world. The bridge of incidents that followed was completely natural. That's key. It always feels natural. The world rearranges itself seamlessly, and once you grasp this, you realize how powerful and simple the process is. You start understanding that you are not the body. The body is just the garment worn by the real self. You are the being within the body, and your imagination is your real workshop. You've been given divine faculties, divine ears and divine eyes to hear and see the world within you. The question is, do you trust what you see and hear? If you experience it in imagination, that means because you can't experience what you're not. So trust what your divine faculties reveal to you. To trust imagination means to not seek evidence in the world. You don't go looking to verify it. You say, I am, and you don't need confirmation from outside. You trust your inner knowing. Neville once said, imagine feeling so secure within that nothing in the world could shame or embarrass you. Feel that. Trust that. That's real change. And from my own trials and errors, I can say, imagination and faith, trusting fully in your imagined state, are the only tools you need to change self. Everything else stems from those. Many of us unconsciously use these tools in reverse. We imagine the worst, trust in that fearful image, and feel anxiety as a result. But once we become aware of this inner process, we can redirect it. We can use imagination and trust to fulfill our deepest desires. And how do you know if it's working? You feel pleasure. That pleasure is the first sign of change. Keep persisting in that inner conviction. Trust your imagination until the change is made visible in the outer world. Or take another approach Neville often used. Plant seeds all day. Imagine beautiful outcomes, trust in them, and move on with your day. You don't need to force anything. Plant as many seeds as you like and let life unfold. Trust is a light touch, not a strain. Imagine something wonderful, accept it, and walk away. That's how you'll cultivate a flourishing inner garden. And here's something else I've learned. The less you look, the more you'll see. The more I stop checking if things are manifesting, the more effortlessly they arrive. The world is a mirror, not a mold to be cracked. Let it reflect your inner state. Don't try to control or obsess over it. Just trust in the unseen work happening behind the scenes. So to sum it up, there is no one to change but self. And the self is the I am. Change that and you change everything. Trust your imagination. Trust that you already are what you desire to be. Let that trust create pleasure and persist in that feeling until it expresses itself in your life. Whether through deep acceptance or constant seed planting, just know your imagination is the real cause and faith, trust, is the engine that brings it to life. This isn't a one-time trick. It's a way of living. If you understand this and truly live your life upon it, you won't regret it. But do it with ease. Walk lightly, use imagination and faith. Nothing more is required.